Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. It's such a beautiful day here, and I'm going to be talking about what to do when your fruit trees and some of your plants are busy getting ready or is already ready for winter. So your plants go into dormancy, and not a lot of people know how to take care or what to do during that time they are sleeping. So in today's video, I'm going to show you some tips and what I do for winter. It's such a beautiful day here today, and I thought it would be an amazing day to actually show you guys all of the fruit trees that are busy getting ready. Some are already gone into dormancy, but we'll start with our peach tree, and you can see that the peach tree is just starting to turn yellow in the leaves there. And what will happen is that all these leaves will start turning yellow, start falling off, and this will just be a stick with branches. Doesn't mean that your peach tree has died or is dying. It just means that it is reserving its energy for spring to start again the cycle of fruiting and bearing the fruits. So we need to know what to do to take care of your fruit trees when they are in a state of dormancy, because it is very different to when they are active during spring and summer. So this is the very first time we've got a peach tree, but it's not very different to a nectarine tree. And you'll see that the leaves are starting to go yellow, and even if you tug on it, it'll just easily fall off. One thing I have to say is that the flowers are still very active and annoying today, but let's try and ignore them. So back to the tree, they'll start losing all their leaves, and this tree will be totally bare. A lot of people will say that when they have lost all their leaves to trim it, but I don't do that. I actually leave it until late winter, just before it starts waking up, and I give it a good trim. I also fertilize my trees so that when they do wake up, they have that fresh start and can start soaking up and doing what the fruit trees are supposed to do. Give us buds, flowers, start producing these amazing fruits for us. And that is what it's all about. It's about taking care of your fruit trees, not watering it as often as you would in spring and summer. So in winter, when it is totally bare, there's just sticks and branches, you just want to actually feel your soil. If you've got a very dry climate, I would suggest to give it a nice watering in. So what I personally do is that I feel the soil, and if the soil is still moist from my last water, I will basically give it another 2-3 days, feel it again, and then give it a water. But I mostly water my fruit trees once a week. Nectarine trees and clingstones are basically all the same. They are the last trees to lose their leaves, and they are the very first trees to actually start waking up, budding, and have all their leaves on. And that's quite nice, because then you know that everything is going to be waking up very soon after that. My nectarine tree is like that. I assumed that the peach tree and my plum tree will also be like that. But behind me, I have the nectarine tree. And then if I swing there, I've got the plum tree. And well, they're doing exactly the same thing as the peach tree, but the plum tree has already lost the top of its leaves. So let me quickly show you. Yeah, this is the plum tree. You can see that it has already started losing the top portion of its leaves, and you'll see that doesn't matter how yellow they are, if you just tug it on slowly, they just come off very easily. The nectarine tree is also starting to turn a little bit yellow on some of the leaves. It's still pretty much green and full, but it will start losing its leaves, as well as the plum tree will start losing every single leaf. Okay, and then on this side of the garden, you'll see my fig tree, and we have 2 fig trees in the ground. This one I might be grafting on. I think I spoke to you guys about that. I have a few varieties that I would like to use this rootstock as the main rootstock because it's strong, it's established. You can see about 98% of the leaves have fallen off this fig tree. But if I swing around, this fig tree is totally bare. And this is the one that did absolutely amazing. And this one I will leave because it did amazing last year and I'm very proud of it. And I'm going to definitely make sure that I look after these fig trees as well as all my other trees. But I really enjoyed the season of all the figs it gave me, and it was just amazing to actually look after this plant and watch it bear its fruits and then harvest it and then eat it in yogurts and in porridge, even off the tree, is amazing. And then I also dried some figs and put some honey in it, preserved it, so whenever I want a snack, I just take a fig slice out, and that will stay in my cupboard for about a year because it's surrounded with honey. It will be fine. But yeah, try and dehydrate some figs. They're like an awesome little snack, and I really enjoy it. But how do you look after your fig trees when they are sleeping like this? Well, I actually leave it until late winter. I don't really like to do anything to my trees when they are busy sleeping besides fertilizing it and watering it. But what I would actually do in late winter is I would literally chop most of these branches down. So let me show you a good example with this tree. You can see it's not too big, but the one thing that you're not told is that how it looks now, your fruits will not grow on any of these old branches. It'll just start growing new branches out of the sides here. Wherever there's a node, it will start growing new branches. And on these new green branches that start growing in spring is where your fruits will start setting. Fruits will not set on old branches. So with fig trees, you'll see that a lot of people cut it back totally, and that's because they probably want to maintain the size. If I leave it like this and new growth grows, it's just going to get much bigger, and I don't really have much space, so I don't want it to get bigger. What I'm going to do is that I can see there's a branch coming out here, so I could leave this branch because I might get new little growth on the side here. But with this huge big one, let's use this one as for an example, I might cut it down to about down here, and then you'll see some notes. I got a note on this side, I got a note on that side, I got a note there, and I'm hoping that the notes on the top will start shooting the new branches out because I want it to grow outwards and not downwards or inwards. I want it to try and take a shape where the middle is not too dense. So I want my branches to go outwards. So I would probably cut it maybe here, but I like the fact that I can cut that off. This branch, don't throw it away. You cut it in segments and you can actually propagate this and have one, two, I would say about 3 new fig trees off of this one branch for the same variety. And this variety, I'm not really sure what it is. It is quite big, medium actually. It is medium size figs. They're beautiful, and if I knew the name, I would tell you guys, but I don't. But that would just give me more fig trees. And then with this one, you can see that if I don't cut it, on the side it will grow new branches and just go higher. So I don't want that. I might just cut it down to here. And then I can use all of this and propagate that. The same as these long ones, I don't want, so I might just cut it down to here. But I'll do a video on propagating fig trees. I will make a video on how to actually maintain it and prune it. On this side, we've got the cherry tree. So what I will be doing with this cherry tree is that I will be totally cleaning this up so that these roots do not take all the energy from my cherry plant. But the cherry plant is 99% done for the season. You can see it has 3 more leaves, a few there. But cherry plant, I'm not going to be pruning it at all. I'm going to leave it as it is, and it will just start growing from the old branches outwards. And so I am going to definitely make sure that I take half of the soil out in the new season, that's spring. So I'll be taking it about up to there, all the soil out, and refreshing my soil, giving it the best fertilizer for cherry trees, and then also not trimming it at all. But when it wakes up, it will suck all that nutrients I've now put into that pot, and hopefully I get amazing cherries. In this pot, I have 2 apple trees, and I have a Gala apple tree and a Granny Smith, and they have bared fruit in the past, but as I said, this year I've not gotten anything, and I know it's because I did not fertilize or give it the nutrients. So it still has old soil from the previous year, and it's just a perfect example of why it's so important to fertilize your fruit trees. They need that. Remember, it rains and you also water your garden, and it all gets washed away during that year. So during the year, you need to make sure twice or even 3 times that you make sure that you've got either slow release fertilizer, you also give it the nutrients it needs, and I also to give it liquid fertilizer every 3 months. But in this case, only gave it once, and it wasn't happy with that. So you can see this is the Gala apple tree. I got it in 2022, and it will lose all its leaves too. I'm not sure if I'm going to be giving this a trim. I think I might just leave it as it is, as well as the Granny Smith. I'm going to just leave it as it is. Now let's talk about your lemon trees. It's the only one we've got in the ground, and it's just got a whole bunch of either black ants, black hohos, and they are just having a field day on my lemon trees, all underneath there. So I'm going to have to sort that out. And if I come over here, I have a beautiful Maya lemon tree. Also the same thing is happening with that. Maybe it's the season it gets attacked, but I will be putting neem oil on all of them. But I've actually got that growing in a pot. So guys, you're very much able to grow fruit trees and most dwarf varieties in pots. You can see how small that pot is. And when it wakes up, I'll be transferring this main tree into a big pot, and probably will be its forever home. Not sure. But you can see how amazing this Maya lemon tree is doing. And I grew that one from seed. And it is a small variety. My colleague that actually gifted me the lemon showed me her tree, and it's actually not a very big tree, and it's bearing so much lemons. all year round. So I'm very, very happy about this lemon tree. I do have another lemon tree in a pot here, and this is called a rough skin. Not exactly sure what rough skin it is, but it is a rough skin lemon that I actually grew from seed as well. And I know that we've got another rough skin lemon tree that we bought. Not really sure where about in the garden that is. Let's go take a look. That's a small lemon tree as well. And it could be this one, because it's actually very, very slow growers, I do find. So you can see I've got that one in a massive pot. And then we've also got, if I go over here, a lim. I think it's called what, a lim tree, and it's not for eating and that. I think it's more for cooking. It's given us one lemon, and that's it for one lime. But if it gives us more, I'm going to experiment with that. If I swing around to this side of the homestead, you can see the grape tree is lost all its leaves. Okay, so how do you maintain a grape tree? So what I've learned is that you can see if I go down here, you've got your main stem, and if we take this branch, it splits into another 3. So then from the main branch, you've got 3 branches, and you've got branches like this running off. You keep these branches, so like this one I would keep also. I'll keep this branch, I'll keep this branch, I'll keep this branch, this one and that one. And what you want to actually cut off these branches, so if I go up one of the main branches, you'll see you've got little branches off the main branches, and these are the branches you want to cut off. You keep your main branches running, and you cut off all the small offshoots like this. So here's your one of the main branches. It's got an offshoot, and that is what I want to cut off. This one over here is a main branch, and I will probably cut off this branch as well. And so you'll just have the main branches running and all the side branches off. So all of these are from a side branch, from a main branch. That will all be cleared up. How do you take care of a grape tree? Well, don't overwater it in winter. It's not a big fan of water. I have found that this one, this specific red seedless grape that I have, was on this side of the homestead. I had planted it over here, and when it rains, all the water just was in here, it soaked, and did not even grow 2 years ago. It was very, very sad. I could have actually lost it, but then I dug it out and I put it above the ground, and it's been very happy. I'm hoping next year I get grapes from it. So fingers crossed there. Just make sure that you fertilize your grapevine. Make sure you fertilize all of your fruit trees. Over here we've got the 2 pomegranate. And guys, go and watch that video. It is an amazing video. I even do a taste test, and these are 2 different varieties. So I went to go and look for the tag for this, and because all the leaves are off, I found my tag, and it's called the and lip. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but that is the variety of this pomegranate plant, and it is sweet, it is beautiful, and I do recommend this variety. It is amazing. And this pomegranate tree is a totally different variety. This Pacific pomegranate tree was not to our liking. It is a totally different variety from this one, and it is more sour. And I did try and leave one of the pomegranates a little bit longer on this tree to see if it sweetened up. It did sweeten up, but it was still sour and it wasn't to our liking. So will we keep it? No, we don't want the fruits on this specific pomegranate tree. It did not taste nice. But what we're going to do is we're going to also try and graft a better variety onto this tree. How you do that, I'm not really 100% sure. First time I'm going to be trying grafting, but I'm going to try and see if I can't propagate one of these cuttings, and if I'm successful, try and transfer this across to that tree with other varieties. I've got an 8-ball on the other side that we're going to go to now, and it hasn't given me anything. It's still a baby, but I'm hoping next season um, it might give me fruits. I'm not 100% sure. Just need to find it now, and this is it. So this is called the 8-ball, and you can see how tiny it is. And I would like to graft that one onto the other tree, but it's the same thing. Make sure you prune it nicely, and it'll start coming back. And also you want to also see the directions of your notes. So if I'm going to trim it here, I've got 2 baby notes here, and depending on the direction of your notes, that is where your new branches will start coming out. This is the delta. You can see the leaves are starting to go yellow. I need to cut these 2 off before it actually goes into winter mode. And this I'm going to have to protect very well because Joburg gets very, very cold. And last year I had a hot house. Unfortunately, where my hot house was, we've now put a pool there. And so I don't have the hot house this year by the looks of it. I'm not really sure where to put it because it's a big hot house. Maybe I can find space for it, but this needs to be protected. Put into a hot house or inside your house so that it has sun, but also that warmth during the cold period. Our banana tree over there, once I harvest my bananas and cut the mother down, I am going to have to protect the new mother. And you know what? Last year it was very cold. The leaves all went yellow and it lost all its leaves. It wasn't really sure it was going to come back, but it did. So I'll just wrap it with frost cloth, and that is the best I can actually do. They're pretty strong unless they get very, very wet and root rot. But I think I've got very high hopes for the banana tree. And we also got a banana tree in the front, a different variety. And that came back also. So they're pretty established, so I don't have a problem with these banana trees. I'm not really sure what to actually do when it comes to the banana trees because, well, I wasn't actually expecting bananas. We put a bag on it now, and you can see the bees are still in and out of it. And the bananas at the bottom there didn't form. And this piece is still there. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to cut it down. I have to do more research, but there's our bananas. They're still very well. They're all looking up, and we just need to wait until it's time to take it off, and then it will ripen for another month, I think they say. But that's another hurdle to get across. But that is your banana tree and how to take care of it. What you want to do is just make sure you cut all the pups away. You don't want the pups to start taking all that energy during winter from the main tree who is trying to survive during winter. So cut all the pups away, and then the old leaves that you're going to be cutting down, just cut it in pieces, surround it so that all that nutrients goes back into the banana plant, and also it serves as some mulch to protect the base. That is the way I know how to look after a banana plant. I'm not going to change how I did it last year because clearly I did something right. So guys, that is what's happening in the garden. It's starting to look a little bit bare. Things are starting to sleep, and all you have to do is make sure that you water all your trees and your garden once a week, maybe a little bit longer than that, maybe 1.5 weeks, because in winter your garden doesn't need as much water as spring and summer, because that is a hotter period. But your winter crops might need a water once a week. Just put your finger in the soil and see how damp your soil is or how dry it is, and take it from there. But a good indication is once a week. So what I normally do is, with the clingstones, they wake up a little bit earlier, so I'll make sure in the middle of winter that I do a nice prune if there's pruning that's needed. And then I make sure that some of the soil is taken out. I refresh that soil. I put some nutrients in, some slow releasing pellets in, and then I put it back into the pot with some more new compost and maybe some topsoil, perlite, and then I make sure that I mulch it nicely, and that will be ready to wake up with all that amazing nutrients and a nice haircut. So I hope this video was helpful and that you have an amazing winter. Remember, your plants are just sleeping. They are reserving their energy so that when they wake up, they can just focus on pushing out these flowers, these buds, in order to give you the most amazing fruits. Take care of your plants. They will definitely reward you. And remember, we're here to learn together as we grow together. Comment below and give me advice on anything that I've missed or something that I could maybe use in my garden. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, so that we can all learn together and that you don't miss out on any of the tips that I'm trying to share with you guys from my experience. And I definitely will see you guys in the next video.